Welcome back to the Kaspa Silver YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to answer the question how Kaspa can fail. And yes, there is a way that Kaspa can fail, and the way that is if people don't use Kaspa. Now, this is pretty much for any kind of like asset that's out there. If it doesn't ever get adoption or get any kind of traction, then it pretty much is just gonna fail. But it is crucially important that people are actually using Kaspa and not viewing Kaspa as just some sort of thing to buy and hold forever. You should be trying to find ways to use it. And this is because, like I have stressed many times in the past, every single proof of work system has a finite supply. And once this finite supply is hit, the miners are no longer going to get paid with the block reward, but instead they will be paid with fees, and fees are only generated by transactions on the network. Now, you can be something like Monero that added a tail emission, which may work for Monero in their unique case, but in my opinion, if Kaspa adds a tail emission, then it has totally failed and has basically surrendered, and it should just be ignored at that point. I mean, it pretty much, the whole point of Kaspa is that it is able to survive without having a tail emission or anything like that. It can keep a finite supply, because if you add that tail emission, you're adding inflation to the network, and it's pretty much no different than the fiat system that we have. Now, I have this video here where I talk about Kaspa, the only proof of work set to prove a sustainable future, and why I believe Kaspa has the greatest incentives for proving that it can live off of fees, because there are really good incentives to use the network, unlike Bitcoin. When it comes to Bitcoin, a lot of people don't actually use it. You can see this Bitcoiner here trying to take a jab at Michael Saylor, saying if Saylor really cared about accumulating much Bitcoin as possible, he would accept Bitcoin payments at his company. And I responded here saying, well, the reason why you do not see this is because BTC is not meant for payments anymore. Every Bitcoiner is hoping someone else is using it as it should be, but unfortunately no one really is. Big concern for long-term security funding. And this is because the narrative for Bitcoin is digital gold and digital reserve currency, or not even a currency, it's just a reserve asset, something to just hold on to. But if you only hold Bitcoin, then in the long term, this will suffer in terms of security funding. And you could see that in this video right here, I'm actually viewing the chart of the security funding for Bitcoin. And you could see that ever since the halving, the Bitcoin block rewards for miners that they're receiving in dollars terms still has not hit the previous all-time high that I was at, because every 4 years it has that 50% cut. So Bitcoin needs to double, and it needs to keep doing that every 4 years so that it can keep the miner sustainable, or transactions are enough for fees and that keeps the miner sustainable. But that is more unlikely not to happen, because like I said, Bitcoin's already being viewed as something to simply hold on to and not even use. So I actually have this thread here where I talk about ways that you can use Kaspa to buy things. And so, for example, I recently purchased here the Discord subscription using Kaspa with a website called Coinsbee. Coinsbee is a place that lets you purchase gift cards for pretty much any place in the world. You can even just get Visa gift cards straight up, so you could just buy anything you want, or Amazon gift cards. And this is a really great way so that you can use your Kaspa to purchase goods and services. And not only is this a great way to do that, it actually increases your privacy, because now these platforms like Discord, Microsoft, Apple, I no longer have to keep my personal bank information on their platform. I simply use Kaspa to get a gift card and add the gift card to this platform, and that way I can increase my privacy. The only thing that Coinsbee usually would force you to use is an email address, which you can easily make sure to use an email address that is not tied to your identity. So now you're just really increasing your privacy even more when you're purchasing goods and services. You can also see here that I purchased some iCloud. I also purchased Xbox Live, and this is pretty much how I purchase Xbox Live all the time now. I never use my card anymore to buy anything on the Xbox store, any subscriptions. Pretty much, I'm always using Kaspa via Coinsbee. I also bought Olive Garden gift card one time to get some food for dinner, and I also bought my dog some food using Coinsbee to get an Amazon gift card. So this is pretty much ways how you can use Kaspa already, and I recommend all you guys to look into this website. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but I do use them and I have had great experience every time I'm using them. And whenever you are purchasing something with Kaspa, make sure that you are using the Caspian wallet. You don't want to be using your cold storage long-term holdings because one, if you're in the US, you're gonna have to suffer taxes when you're spending your holdings because it is equivalent to selling. So what I do is I basically dump my dollars for Kaspa and I use a service like Change Now. Change Now is a really great way to swap into cryptocurrencies that you need. So I basically put money onto my Robinhood account and I buy like USDC stablecoin or even maybe XLM or something like that. And then I just swap it into Kaspa. So I send the funds to Change Now, they swap it into Kaspa, it comes to my Caspian wallet, and then boom, I have funds now to buy goods and services. And I typically like to keep my Caspian wallet holding about $50 to $100 at all times so that I don't always have to do this when I want to purchase something with Kaspa. And it's especially good to just have Kaspa on the go on a hot wallet like that. I only recommend Caspian wallet to be for $50 to $100 worth of Kaspa. I don't think you should be holding thousands of dollars on the Caspian wallet, but it's really great for buying things because it does have UTXO functionality, which helps increase your privacy. And I'm probably going to make a video that focuses more on how to increase your privacy within Kaspa, because there are ways to do this. Even though Kaspa is not fully anonymous, there are still ways to keep your identity anonymous. So let's go ahead and revisit the security funding by using Kasplor.com, which is created by a community member within the Kaspa Discord. So this right here is a chart showing the total monthly security budget. Right here, you could see that at the current moment, it's about $15.9 million. And this is based on basically about 2 transactions per second, with the current price sitting at about 10 cents and a base fee that is way under a penny. And so I went ahead and did the calculations. What would need to happen if, let's say, worst case scenario, no one's using Kaspa at all, it stays at this 2 TPS 5 years from now? What would need to happen? Well, the price would simply need to double every single year to equal about $3.20. And so if you look over here, by February 2030, $3.20 Kaspa will put the security funding at $15.8 million so that it keeps it sustainable and at the same level as it is today. Now, I don't really know for sure if that's even enough money to fund the miners at this time, but at least we know for sure that we can keep the same level of security funding as long as we just double every single year. And at the current moment, the hash rate hasn't been declining drastically, showing as if people are not wanting to run their miners because it's no longer profitable. It seems like a lot of people are still running their miners regardless, and that's just largely due to the fact that many people do believe in the future outcome of Kaspa. But this is by no means a price prediction. This is just a price that we need for Kaspa to remain sustainable if we're stuck at 2 TPS. I then went ahead and decided to take a look at Solana here, and I looked at their non-vote transactions, which are more legitimate transactions from like wallet to wallet, and you can see that they're sitting at about 60 million transactions per day. And I say this is pretty accurate to what I believe Kaspa may be at 5 years from now. 60 million transactions coming in. So I went ahead and looked up how much that would be in terms of TPS, and 694 TPS would be equivalent to about 60 million transactions per day. And this is at the price of $1. So let's say we get the 60 million transactions, we get the user base using Kaspa a lot, but the price still doesn't even go that high. It stagnates and only goes to $1 5 years from now. And my estimate is that every transaction is going to be about a penny by that time. You could see here that this keeps security funding well over what it is currently. So February 2030, you could see that the monthly Coinbase plus fees is sitting at $21.7 million, which is way higher than where it's sitting at right now in February, which is $15 million. If we take the current price and current TPS into account. So this just basically shows what we need to survive, and it's the fact that people need to use Kaspa. So this is why it's so important to find ways to use Kaspa. I share with you guys this one way, buying gift cards so that you can buy your goods and services. Not only that, I go to my barber, I pay him in Kaspa every single time. And I think if you have any barber that you go to or local business that you go to, always ask them, hey, do you guys accept cryptocurrency? If not, hey, look into Kaspa. It's so easy and quick to show them how it works because it's so fast. And this will maybe incentivize people to get onboarded with it because of how fast it actually is. But Kaspa so far has been doing pretty well in terms of the use. You can see in the last 24 hours is that 78,000 transactions, and this is way higher than just a year ago, where normally it would only be about 30,000 to 50,000 regular transactions daily, including the Coinbase. Today, you could see that when it comes to regular transactions, we are having days where it's over 100,000. And currently, right now, since the market has been a little bit more in a fearful sentiment, it's back down to this 30,000 range. But we do at least see that it's more than possible for Kaspa to handle millions in a day. In fact, it did make history, putting in 15.79 million transactions in a single day. This has never been done before by a proof of work network. So really interesting to see that it can do this. Whether or not this will happen again or we'll get enough users for people to use it really just depends on the adoption of Kaspa. It's not really predictable, but there are a lot of factors in play that say that the security funding is pretty much going to be okay, especially with smart contracts on the horizon, 10 blocks per second on the horizon. These features will just only incentivize more people to use Kaspa, build on Kaspa, and just create more ways for fees to be generated for miners. And that was another thing here. I put a penny because, yes, a normal transaction is really, really cheap, but when layer 2 solutions come onto Kaspa, they may introduce some different types of fee mechanisms like Casplex did, where if you mint a token, it's 1 Kaspa instead of just the default fee, which is usually 0.0001 Kaspa. Or if you launch a token, it's 1,000 Kaspa as a fee. So who knows what these other layer 2 solutions that are going to be built on Kaspa are going to introduce for fees, which will just only help miners even further. And then, of course, we don't really have to worry at all about how many people are using it if the price of Kaspa just successfully doubles every single year. But this is very, very hard to predict. And it is something that is worth talking about, and people are always talking about it in the Discord, and it's really interesting to see what people's opinions are. Some people just think it's completely over. Kaspa will never be able to be sustainable, but I think there's a lot of factors in play here that will show it is going to be sustainable. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something about how valuable it is to start using Kaspa. And before we go, if you have not considered giving yourself a cold storage wallet device so that you can hold your Kaspa offline and off exchanges, Tandem is currently offering 15% off right now. If you use my code Kaspa Silver at the checkout, you not only get that 10% off, but they're adding an extra 5% off because of the Valentine season right now. So if you guys are interested, look into that. I do receive a commission if you guys use my code, and it greatly does support my channel, but this is a really great solution to hold your Kaspa offline and off exchanges. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you guys are new around here, and as always, don't be average, be different.